What's good? It's been about what, a year? We back, baby. We back. We cannot not talk about this topic. We cannot talk about what's going on in Jackson State HBCU culture since we all are alpha beta, like we had to bring it to the forefront. And what better way to talk about it than on Brothers Vent 2? Let's vent and talk about what is going on right now. It's your host. It's me, Swift. I am sweating way too long. I am swag. Just want to let that be known right now. But it's me. I'm in Houston, and I had to. They want to drink for this, so I had to drink. I got my Remy out, my 1738. I'm ready to get it. Go ahead, Jay.
What's up, Jay Ward? When I'm drinking water tonight, I just left the gym and I'm doing homework, so no drinking. School night.
Even more reason to drink, Mike.
Hey, Mike G and Jackson. I probably should be drinking water because I just left the gym too, but I'm on a little basil haze tonight. And let's get it in, man. I got a lot to say.
Smart hell no. Go ahead,
hey, this is Who Is John P? Who is that man, John P? Mama, there go that man. I ain't drinking nothing tonight. I ain't got no tequila in the stock, so I'm gonna be completely sober tonight.
You muted, Osei.
Unmute me. Talking. Hey, so Big Osei.
drunk already.
Drunk already.
Already drunk.
Celebrating the SWAC win with the Moet. You feel me? Ready to talk to y'all today.
Man, I'm gonna have to go find me something in that pantry real quick.
Go ahead. Smart Twin.
What's happening? We represent the other side of the Mike G clique. This is Smart Twin Dr. G. You know what I'm saying? We already been pulled up a little while ago, so I ain't got nothing on me right now, but it's in the stash.
Okay. So let's go ahead and kick this off. I'm trying to figure out the best way to go. So we all know what happened, right? Primetime has left. He is going to take the job in Colorado. And there has been a lot of opinion about, was he right? Was he wrong? Did he do Jackson State right? Did he elevate HBCU? Did he elevate Jackson State? And like I said, it's conversation across social media. There's been posts about it. You got Shannon Sharp commenting, Breakfast Club, so on and so forth. But we are all Jackson State alums, right? This is coming from our perspective as Jackson State alum. We know if we benefit from this guy. So my first question, I'm gonna let y'all vent and get everything out, but I do want to ask this first question. I'm gonna start with Jay Ward. Did Primetime elevate? Did he really elevate JSU? Did he? Did he really elevate Jackson State football or Jackson State in general? What you think?
Temporarily, he started a trend, but I don't think it's anything concrete, anything permanently. So that's my problem. Social media buzz is here today and gone tomorrow. It's just like when you go to somebody's funeral, right? Someone, you lose a loved one. Everybody's like, I'm praying for you. Hit me up if you need anything. But once they leave the repast, they gone, and you left to deal with that, that loss by yourself. So they're gone. So it's just like he didn't pitch his tent. Shannon Sharp and they had their last little segment on us today. After that, we not popping back up on there anymore until we do something drastic or until we hire a new coach. That's it. Their coverage is gone. So I say no.
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna pick back off Jay Ward. I agree wholeheartedly that it's a temporary uplifting. Did he elevate us? I don't think so. I think Coach Prime was above average as a coach. He gave us, he helped facilitate the new football training facilities. He gave us an unprecedented, undefeated SWAC championship season. We got 2 back-to-back SWAC championships, which is all good. But as far as elevating Jackson State, he left us in a better position than when he came, for sure. But as far as elevating, I think it's all short term. I mean, I'm happy about these back-to-back SWAC championship wins, but as far as elevating, Alcorn got back-to-back wins. As far as elevator,
True.
in the short term, I will say this too. He did definitely increase brand recognition for Jackson State. So that's the 3 things: brand recognition, undefeated season, and help facilitate the expansion of the training facilities. Other than that, I'm on the side that he didn't elevate us, but he was good for Jackson State.
John, I'm gonna ask you a question
I'm
though.
gonna let Smart Twin ask it first.
Because you say brand recognition. Do you think that Jackson State's brand got elevated, or do you think that Deion's brand got elevated?
I think both. I think Jackson State brand recognition did get elevated, and Deion as a coach brand did get elevated too. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
I think Jackson State brand recognition did get elevated because a lot more people know about Jackson State now than they did before.
So let me ask you a question, John, on that then. So you started the question saying, did he elevate Jackson State? And you named 3 things he did to elevate. So did he not elevate Jackson State?
What it sounds like.
I'm gonna say he did not. I'm gonna lean towards he did not elevate Jackson State. I'm saying,
you sure?
Well, I'm leaning towards he was a above average coach. This
right.
is what I put him at. He's an above average coach for Jackson State.
But then you gave 3 things where he elevated, and then you said both were his brand recognition.
I'm gonna let the moderator facilitate.
Yeah, let me.
That's all the props I'm giving Deion tonight. That's all the props I'm giving.
So what it sounds like Joe is saying, Deion just basically did what he was supposed to do as a coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart Twin, what you think?
To be honest, I think that Deion getting a bad rap right now. He did do a lot for Jackson State in the short term, like both John and Osei said. My only issue with him is that, man, I was looking for long-term success. I was looking for long-term investment. And when I say long-term, I'm not talking about him being a lifer and staying at Jackson State for 10 years. Mm-hmm. What I did expect was for him to put down some better foundational pieces that could withstand him leaving, because a lot of what he brought to Jackson State came from his ability to draw those things in, his connections. You talked about the football field or the Walmart deal or the celebrities that showed up. They all came because of him, not because of Jackson State. And so did he leave enough foundational pieces that when he's gone, we can still have those things? And I don't think he did that. And so that's what disappoints me the most. So I don't think he elevated us. I think that what he did was he gave us a spotlight that showed what we already were, in which case then I think we're in the same position before he left. I just think that he did give us a few things on his way out.
Stokes, I got to hear from you, brother. Go ahead.
Which one of us on this panel work for free? That's all I want to know.
No, hey, Stokes, this is your opportunity.
No, Stokes,
this is your opportunity.
Which one of us
this is your opportunity.
Hold on, y'all.
I let all y'all go.
Did he elevate us? Yes, no, why?
I didn't go.
I'm gonna come back to you. I'm on his coach.
Yes, but at a cost. Nothing's free. So the reason being is, as John mentioned, brand recognition, we haven't been heard of since Walter Payton. It is what it is.
Oh, man. So
Hell no. Come on, man. Hey, man, we not finna do that tonight. We ain't finna do that tonight.
Did I interrupt y'all?
Bro,
you went on
Good Morning America with the dude who playing basketball. Right before
let's go.
Listen to John. He said the dude who played basketball. What was his name?
Snacks.
What the hell is his real name?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you're making my point here. So in terms of someone that we can go with brand association, he definitely helped us, but it was at a cost. We were paying the man $300,000.
False.
And he left for.
He got more than $300K.
Did I, sir?
Let's talk. Let him talk.
I'll let you go. All right. We were paying the man $300,000. He got a job for $5 million. He got 17 times his salary in 1 year. And actually, it's even worse than that, because if you look at the total, he got $30 million over 5 years. That's a 20x increase. In 5 years, that's 100 years of him working at Jackson State. Which one of us gonna turn this down?
That's not the question, though, Stokes. The question is, did he elevate us?
Yeah. The question is, yes, he did elevate us, but it was a cost. Pay the cost.
Okay.
So what's
Mike,
the cost?
Go ahead, Mike. No, go ahead, Mike G.
The question is, did he elevate us? My answer would be, well, I don't know. And the reason I say that is because let's look at some of the things that he did. When the team traveled, they traveled in style because he had a relationship with Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan got suits. Does that relationship continue now that Deion is gone?
Exactly.
When we traveled on American Airlines chartered flights. Does that relationship continue now that Deion is gone? The new uniform deal that we got, does that continue now that Deion is gone? The ESPN deal, I think, is going to be there regardless. I think because I might not give Deion the entirety of the credit, but I know that we have a 10-year deal with ESPN to show HBCU games. I'm not saying that Deion is solely responsible for that, but that deal I think will be there because I think that's like a 10-year deal. The new facility, of course, that's going to stay there. So the answer to your question is undecided because I don't know how much of this stuff we're going to keep. And that kind of piggybacks on what Bro was saying is like, did he lay enough of a foundation that these things will continue on outside of him actually being there and fostering these relationships? He did a few more things. I don't have it written down, but I can go back and research while somebody else is talking. But he did bring a lot of attention. He brought a lot of exposure. And the question is, do those things continue with him not being here to spearhead those things? So I don't know if he elevated us. I don't know.
And I'm gonna follow up with this too, Mike. I'm gonna follow up with this too, Mike G, about the exposure and all the things that he did. Do y'all really think he did it for Jack State or did he do it for Prime?
You already know the answer to that question.
Prime, absolutely.
What'd you say, Stokes?
Prime, 100%.
Hey, since we all in agreement that he did that for Prime, let's talk about how it was a mutually beneficial agreement, because a lot of people on the comment section acting like Prime did us a solid. I'm gonna start calling him man Coach Sanders.
Exactly.
That's
what he'll be called in Colorado. Coach Sanders.
So hold on, Joey.
All right.
So I think if we all agree that Coach Prime did this for himself, then does that give validity to why people are mad at what he was saying and preaching when he first got to Jackson State?
Well,
I don't think so.
It's a little unfair for that, though. What percentage are we talking about? If it's himself slightly more than Jackson State, both of them still got something. He just happened to win out the deal.
After mutually,
Beneficial.
Yeah. If it's mutually beneficial, we don't care. You know what I'm saying? If Prime doing something for himself and we winning, we don't care. Just like people were trying to argue that Prime wasn't elevating other schools in the SWAC, when in fact we were selling out their stadiums. If we selling out your stadium, even if Prime is doing it for himself because he's getting percentage of ticket sales, it don't matter because you still benefiting because you're getting a sold out stadium.
This is an investment, man.
Go ahead, Jose. I see you. Oh, who's that talking? Jay Ward.
You go ahead, Jose.
Oh, no, that was you. That's all you. Go ahead.
So you keep referring to it like a business.
It is.
I know. For them. Lane Kiffin coaches Ole Miss. You pay him to win the football games. You want him to win more games and not leave, you pay him more money. Yeah. That's fine. That's how football works. Right. But we all know that that's not how HBCUs work. Also, we know that you didn't come in with that. You came in on a white horse that nobody asked you to get on. We just wanted you to come win some games, see? We didn't say come in and say, God sent me here. And y'all stop thinking that they can offer you more, and the only way to go to the NFL is to go to one of those schools. You said that. You didn't have to say, hey, y'all, I'm just here to do my job. When Coach Robinson said he ain't SWAC, he should have said, hey, I win games. You didn't have to start no campaign about who is SWAC, and you didn't have to do all of that. That's bullshit. You didn't have to do that. That's the same stuff that politicians do when they come to your church and say, I got y'all because I too believe in God and I believe in Jesus because we so fucking go. And so you come in and you do all of that. So if you're going to treat it like a business and then treat us like business, you're going to throw us to the side like business, then you should have been all business all the time. Mm-hmm. You did not have to go and do all that. You did not have to come out there poking your chest out, going in folks' houses saying, hey, man, we going to do this for the culture. Stop throwing around the culture and all of that. Just say, look, we trying to win football games. And nobody would have blamed you at all for doing what's best for all that, like Devin said, all that fucking shucking and jiving about God sent me here and all that. So God didn't send you to Colorado, right? And we going to get on that whole Colorado shit, by the way. But
Okay, so, well, first of all, marketing and pandering. It happens in politics, as you mentioned. And how could he have gotten players like Travis Hunter if he didn't do it?
by saying I'm Coach Prime, I played your position. The same thing you trying to do on the football field. You played offense and defense. I mastered that position. Come with me. That would have been enough.
You really think that would have been enough? In comparison to all these other schools?
So let me reiterate this. Then.
Jump in, Joe.
Hey, so let me ask you this, Stokes. Are you okay? Are you saying it's okay to market and pander to sell a dream to recruits to come to Jackson State for the sole purpose of Prime's benefit?
No, what I'm saying to you, I think it's highly unethical, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Okay.
It happens every day.
And this is what's getting to what I'm really upset with about Coach Sanders. It's unethical. It happens all the time.
It happens. It happens every
Let me finish. We know sports. It happens all the time. People break contracts all the time, even though it could be unethical. However, you don't treat your people like that.
Okay, if we don't treat our people like that, I have a question. If we don't treat our people like that, why do we not have an issue when Hillary brought Beyonce and LeBron and all these other people on stage to solicit the black vote? What's the difference?
The difference is, let me phrase my words right. It's a game that we play with people who are running the game don't look like us. You know what I'm saying?
So it's different because he looked like us. He used the same playbook that other people use against us.
Let's some other people jump in. I see Osei, you got to talk. I see that face you're making. What you thinking, brother?
All right, so let me get this straight. So we're saying, all right, he basically used this as a step to get coaching at the next level.
Right.
So the way he was able to get people in based on kind of what you call Stokes the marketing, would that have been a successful marketing campaign at another smaller D1 non-HBCU?
No.
Because the outcome, you could do the same thing from a coach perspective, say, let me go grab this school, make them hot, get some people around me, go to Colorado.
So here's my.
But it wouldn't be based on selling pipelines of HBCU players going straight to the NFL from strictly playing HBCU ball, because that's what everybody was getting, right? And we all saw that Travis Hunter post. It was a paragraph talking about the history of Jackson State, how I'm going to be a part of this future and this change. I know he didn't sit there and just write that in his room. It was something that was pitched to him for him to communicate to others, to raise the alarm that more of y'all should come for this reason. That's something that you would not be able to push at some other random school saying anything similar. Like, you're going to go to this random small PWI and we're going to change it. Nobody's coming. So that's the part where, if you agree it's unethical, how do you not see a problem with it just because it happens before?
No, that's not why I don't have a problem with it. My problem is, why do we fall for it? Why is it that a person with no credentials that can't use this anywhere else, why is it that Jack State is the only one desperate enough to hire him? No coaching experience on the collegiate level. If you can't pull this at a UNLV, in Alabama, or Tulane, or wherever, but we want it because he had clout. Why are we a clout chaser?
But let's hold on.
Check this out.
I'm gonna let Miggy jump in. You gotta stop.
I got to directly address this. In Coach Prime speech, his old dry speech, after winning the SWAC championship game, he mentioned that he was still talking the same talk. He mentioned the city of Jackson needed hope. They needed somebody they could look to, that they could trust. He's still been preaching the character that they could trust, that somebody was gonna stick by him, even though he was leaving. You saying why we fall for it, and he's still preaching the same stuff to us.
That same speech got him welcomed with a Princess Amunda type of approach. So why do we have a problem with it now?
I think what the issue is, though. Is we have to be willing to give us those opportunities. Mm-hmm. When Deion was searching for a coaching job, all those white schools turned him away, and we said, hey, you're one of us. We will welcome you. Now, were we cloud chasing a little bit? Of course. Deion had a name, but we made him coach. Yeah, we paid him
Like I said,
Coach Prime though.
we could take it a step further and say he got his degree from us too. Like when I don't.
Well, no, he got it from another smaller school. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
He's saying us, meaning like HBCU.
Oh yeah. Because in order to coach at a D1 school, you need a degree. So we welcomed him in and said, "Hey, we'll give you that shot because you have no coaching experience beyond your high school with your son. We will give you that shot, and man, we're gonna put every resource we got behind us to help elevate you, to give you that spotlight. And in turn, we're hoping that you do great things for us." So we're not knocking the fact that he did great things for us, but a lot of us are jilted because we felt like, man, he didn't complete the mission. It's as simple as that. He didn't complete the mission.
And he could have.
Would you give me some street number you want?
Went to Spring College and did that same shit, got your credentials and went on. You did not have to pick an HBCU and come on an HBCU. The celebrities were not coming because he was so great. This is the greatest show on turf. It was for the culture, and they understood that we can get on them later. Saying you can continue to support us even though he's gone. But the thing about it was like, bro, you didn't have to pick us to do that. We allowed you the same. Okay, here it is, Stokes, right here. Jeff Saturday just got a job with no credentials because white people hire white people. So we were in the situation to hire a black person that was not qualified and did not have his credentials. Shout out to Cook. He did not have his credentials. So we were able in that hiring position to be able to hire him to come and do the same thing. And then you just bounce. And it's like, oh, okay, well, and then Colorado don't even have the money to pay him. Never.
Yeah, they gonna get my IOU.
And with that, Mike, I'm gonna come to you for this next question because I saw a question posted, and I definitely want to address this because you see the people on social media.
I would like to rebut that if that's okay.
Huh?
I would like to rebut that if it's okay whenever you finish that one.
Okay, but you do see people on social media saying, "Well, Colorado offering him whatever $5 million a year. What did Jackson State offer this man to try to keep him there?"
A play from Boston.
The question is, what's he going to?
Hey, them Boston's play be fired though.
They do be fired. Could Jackson State have done anything or offered anything? Because you see people saying, well, the alumni giving is horrible. Well, that's across all institutions. I think Colorado giving rate is only 12%. Could Jackson State have done anything to keep Prime at Jackson State?
No. I don't personally believe we could have done anything to keep him. I've seen an analogy multiple times in regards to this situation about relationships. Like this is like a boyfriend, girlfriend type relationship. Once a person has made up in their mind, they want to leave, there's nothing that you can do to make them stay. Coach Prime had already made up in his head. He was ready to go. He used us as a stepping stone. And I think I was on board initially with, bro, I don't see what the problem is. The man just made $5 million a year. I can't knock anybody for leaving for that kind of bag. But then as I listened to more and more people express why they were bothered, why they were upset, or why they felt played, then I kind of started seeing like, okay, I see your point of view. So in this particular case, and I'm gonna backtrack a little bit from the previous question, I understand why everybody is upset. Coach Prime or Coach Sanders, he didn't leave on the right accord. It is not so much of the fact that he left for a better opportunity. It's just like Jay Ward said, man, you could have saved the shucking and jiving in the message about, yeah, man, I'm coming to shine a light on black people. And like, first of all, and I'm gonna get on Stokes a little bit about this. Jackson State was an elite college before Coach Sanders ever stepped foot on campus. Like this idea that we just started selling out arenas or stadiums, that we just started having a fan base. Now we might not have had some great winning seasons, but it ain't like we ain't ever won a SWAC championship before. We are 16, 17 time champions. Like we have championship banners. We have Hall of Fame players. We have prestige. We have all of these things. So to act as though Deion came and single-handedly resurrected Jackson State as a university, man, I don't buy into that narrative. I will say this, and we may be getting into this a little further down the line, so I may be jumping the gun here. What I want us to do as a fan base is to, since we're bringing up the analogy about relationships, I want us to stop acting like the jilted lover, because that's a bad look on the fan base.
Yep.
It is a horrible look to now that Deion is gone, say all this stuff, man. Well, he couldn't coach anyway. I heard so much as, man, Travis is gonna get exposed out at what's name? He couldn't lock up. So it's like we're taking this time to throw all this fault at Deion and whoever might leave now that he's no longer with us. And it's the same thing you see happen in relationships. All of a sudden, when the man decided to leave, he couldn't fuck anyways, and you know what I'm saying? He didn't pay no bills, and you know his breath was like.
Well, Coach Prime only gave us 2 strokes. He only gave us. 2
2.5,
somebody record that right now.
But no, it's that mentality of as long as he's with us, we support him, and then the moment he leaves, we talk down on his name. I want to give you some numbers real quick, and then I'll pass the mic. There are 131 colleges in the FBS system. Okay, out of those 131, there's only 11 black head coaches. Out of those 11, only 4 of them are in P5 conferences. Deion made number 5. So we have a less than 10% space in which a black face occupies the head coaching position in, FBS conferences. And like I said, only 5 of them are in Power 5 conferences. So I really want to applaud Deion, even though it was fucked up how he left. I want to applaud him for us having another black face in that space. Like, this man should be applauded for parlaying his opportunity at Jackson State into a bag at Colorado. Even if it's Colorado, you look like, man, black people up there. So like his mission falls hollow because he was supposed to be uplifting black folks. And then you went to the one school that's probably got the least number of black folks in America. So the short answer to the question though was no, we couldn't have done anything to retain Deion because he had already made up in his mind that he was out the door.
I gotta jump in because I was mentioning this earlier about how Jackson State ain't no charity case. I talked about how Prime benefited Jackson State, but Jackson State benefited Prime too because one, he wasn't getting hired on in none of them schools. His own alma mater wouldn't give him the time of day. They wouldn't give him an ear to listen. That's one. 2, he got a son that's quarterback, a starting quarterback, as a true freshman. Okay, was he a 3-star or whatever he was?
4-star.
All right. So you think Shedeur is about to go to these big Power 5 schools and start as a freshman? Nah. But he can come to Jackson State and pad these stats, make him look good. You know what I'm saying? So he got padded stats for his son. He get to coach with his sons. He can do whatever he want to do. And 3, you talk about $300,000. That man got paid more than $300,000 because he getting a percentage of ticket sales too. He got a percentage of them ticket sales. The man got the bag. So it wasn't a $300,000 to $5 million. The gap was a little bit shorter. We ain't got no $5 million for him.
You're also assuming that he didn't get that same arrangement at Colorado.
Hell no. If
the man getting over $1 million from us, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say
you got to have a damn fish fry to give him his check. Don't do that.
Man,
that's marketing stuff. You already said that. That's marketing. They trying to get booster support. Oh man, we broke. We ain't got it. Y'all give more money. That's marketing.
But let me tell you the real reason why I think a lot of people mad because people don't care that you going to get another job. We don't care. You go get your money. We don't care about none of that. It's the handoff. You know what I'm saying? It's a transition. You got to have a smooth transition when you leave a job. You just can't say, deuces, I'm out of here and run to a Power 5 after you told all of your recruits that y'all don't have to go to the Power 5. You've been on all these podcasts and interviews.
Hold on, Joey. We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
We ain't no charity case, though.
Swift, let me answer this question.
We volunteered ourselves as a charity case. That's our fault. That ain't his.
I ain't going to say that. Go ahead. I'm going to come back to you, Stokes. I'm going to come back to you, Stokes, on that one because I don't think you did that. But go ahead, Jay Ward.
So let me just talk about what Mike said for a second about the numbers of coaches, black coaches in a sport that's over 70% dominated by black people. You have 5 or 11 coaches or whatever it is. What are we going to do about it? Fucking nothing. Because we won't unify for 2 days to be able to make that change. They, like the young kids say, they playing all in our faces. What you going to do? I don't give a fuck that we don't have no black coaches. You ain't gonna do nothing about it. You gonna still come bring your black ass here. You gonna take this scholarship and you gonna play football and you gonna go to the NFL and make your $25 million while we make $25 billion. You ain't gonna do nothing about it. The same thing with Jerry Jones. He gonna say, I don't give a fuck about no picture. Or you see Dak Prescott and all them play.
Exactly.
Played well. They don't care about that. They don't care how we feel. And they show you that every day. That's why Prime staying could have been that catalyst that led to them saying, you know what, we can't keep messing over them like this because we're going to lose them. We got to even it up a little bit. And back to what they said about Jackson State and could we have done more, it's like people blaming the alumni for the state not funding the school.
Ooh, that's a whole other topic.
Wait.
Yeah.
$200 million for sports. Jackson State's $2 million. Okay, and they funded by the same state. That don't make sense. That's not right. That's what we're trying to say. Then you're talking about alumni giving. No school is funded by their alumni. They're fully funded already. So it doesn't matter if you're not fully funded. It don't matter if 1,000% of Jackson State alumni gave. It's still not enough to fund the school. That's what the state is supposed to do. That's why it's Jackson State and not Jackson private school.
So real quick, because you cooking tonight, I got to get other people on. Real quick, Jay Ward, could Jackson State have done anything to keep Prime there?
No, because you got a lot of people from that's first generation college students, and we work in liberal arts, so we don't have enough money. We don't have mailbox money where we got oil field rights and mineral rights where people mail us checks and we can just go drop them. When the people at LSU go and donate, that's extra. It's lanyard, like we like to say in Louisiana. It's extra. They can do whatever they want to do with that money. Rather put a name on top of a building or whatever. But when we donate, we trying to pay salaries. We trying to meet the demands of the actual university when we donate. Like we raised like $400,000 on the day of giving or whatever. I think it was way more than that. Man, that money had to go towards stuff. It wasn't extra. It wasn't like, oh, we can pad our coach's salary by buying him a house. It wasn't money for that like they have at those big schools. So it's just like, so you saying, it's like you saying that we whining. Let me tell you about Brandon, since you want to talk about Brandon. You have on an Alabama hat. There's not Walmart in the country that you can't go into and find Alabama and LSU paraphernalia. That's branding. That's
That's a handoff. Hold on. That's a handoff. So Stokes addressed that, but also answer the question: could JSU have offered anything to keep Prime?
Absolutely not. We don't have a market for it. Jackson is too small.
Okay.
You can't afford them.
What you think Boulder is, man? Boulder small as fuck too. They just.
Hey, did you see the video when he got off the plane and said, "Welcome to my hangar"? Did you see that?
Like Jackson ain't got private hangars. We got Hawkins Field. That's a private hangar.
Not the ones you put in the closet. The one that the plane landed.
Negro, I know. I work for the city of Jackson. We have multiple airports here. It ain't just the one out there in Pearl. We have private hangars.
Boulder is a suburb. Boulder is a suburb of Denver. You know why they're not in Denver? Because they don't want to be around black people. But go on.
That's fine. I understand all the socioeconomics. I understand all the racism. I get it. If the issue is money, what are we doing about getting it? I hear the problem. What's the solution?
All right, I got a solution for you. Let me jump in.
Hold on, no, Joel, you've been talking a lot. Let Osei jump in.
All right, I'm back at.
All right, back on the question. Could JSU offer something to keep Prime at JSU? Yes. In terms of offering what the possibility could be if he stayed and committed to a plan. That's the only thing they could have sold him on. If it was financial reasons, of course not. But I think Prime has already said it wasn't about the money because he knew coming in, we ain't got it. We ain't got it like some of these other schools. He accepted on those terms. And that's one of the things that he preached across the country every time he was on TV is saying these are underfunded schools and universities that don't have the resources to do the same things these other schools do. So at any point in time when an offer would come down, he knew that JSU was not going to be able to compete in a fiscal manner with that. Right. However, he came on board saying he was on board for all the other intangible things that JSU could offer. So could we have offered something if it was based on what he came on board for? Yes. But if at some point that changed, we had nothing for him.
Hold on, I got something to say real quick because I feel like what's getting lost in the translations, we keep talking about the money. Deion said himself he didn't come for the money. We know we can't pay him like these other schools. So when he says he didn't come for the money, he's absolutely right. And he didn't leave us for the money, which is also absolutely right. And I don't think that we can keep charging him of, oh, you left for the bag. Deion left for the clout. And here's what I mean by that. These white people told him he couldn't do something. And now he's out to prove them wrong. That's why he went to a school like Colorado, who's been trash, because he's trying to prove that he can be one of the elite coaches. I can take a trash program and build it from the ground up and make it shine. It has nothing to do with him chasing the bag. It's an ego thing for him because he's trying to prove something to these white people. That's why he left. What you got to say, Jay Ward?
He went because still, even after going undefeated in 2 seasons, it still was not a lot of other Power 5 schools calling because he's black, because he's Deion. They don't take
it was some calling, but the thing was they weren't going to legitimize him.
That job, he would have took it.
Yep.
Who?
So it ain't about his ego and none of that. He would have found something else to take personal to steal from Michael Jordan. Y'all go. He would have said, "Oh, I'm just here to beat Nick Saban." So he would have found something else. It wasn't about, "Oh, I want to take a challenge." It wasn't about no challenge.
No, I didn't say it was a challenge. I said he wanted to prove something. The proof is, Deion, you can't do this. And now all of a sudden he's trying to jump at the opportunity to prove that he can. Jackson State, he proved that he could dominate on our level. And now these folks telling him he can't do the same thing on the next level. And so that's why he take a job like Colorado to go and prove, like, man, all I need to do is be able to take a school like Colorado, and now I'm put with the elites, because if I can turn Colorado around, now all of a sudden y'all look at me like one of the best to ever do it. Again, it's an ego thing.
So speaking of Colorado,
this is not going to sound good, but this is, if he's trying to get a house in Madison, sometimes you got to start with a house on Dolphin Street. And sometimes you got to flip a house and get enough equity and roll the house to a bigger opportunity. So you go from Dolphin Street till you go somewhere else in Jackson, then you flip the house to Madison. We just happen to be the first stop. If I agree with Ward, if a bigger opportunity was calling, he got a mid-level school, bottom to mid-level school at a low, high-end price. You know, there's schools in the SEC and Big Ten level that's not paying $5 million. On average, $6 million a year. So why would he say in 5 years he's getting 100 years of a salary that he would take to Jackson State? That makes no sense.
You keep going back to the money, though.
We all agree that ain't the money.
But
you keep going back to the money, though.
Let me transition and go another route, because my boy BK said something that I think should not be lost in translation. Deion sold these kids on, you don't have to go to a PWI, come to an HBCU, and I will get you to where you need to be if you put the work in.
May I say something there?
Hold on, let me finish, because I want to move into the next topic. He even told, like BK said, family player, don't transfer to a P5. Stay at FAMU, put the work in, the eyes will come and see you. Now he announced that he was going to Boulder, Colorado on the same night that these guys won a second SWAC championship in a row, went undefeated. They didn't do a press game conference. They went right to the locker room. Hey guys, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm out. They didn't celebrate. I don't even think they talked about the SWAC championship much at all that night, or the Celebration Bowl. So how do y'all feel about these students, these kids that's playing at Jackson State? Should they stay at Jackson State? Should they dip? What should they do? Right? And Stokes, I'm gonna start with you. Go ahead.
I don't know if y'all recall this conversation or not, but when Travis got flipped, I said right then this was nothing but risk for that kid. Does anybody else not remember that conversation?
I do.
I don't think anybody on this show heard that conversation.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just talking to y'all first. So it was nothing but risk for that kid then, and it's nothing but risk for that kid now. Every second that he stays at Jackson State, he is losing money. He needs to leave yesterday.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Just think about it. Look at his level of competition here. Look at his level of exposure. With Prime gone, we get less eyes than we did when he was here. The level of competition is less than it is at the Boulders, which is less than it is at the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Georgias. If he was the top at a high school and at one point was supposed to be top first round estimate, somewhere in the mid-top first round, anything above 15, you're looking at north of $20 million. Right?
Nobody projects your NFL status.
Hold. Every second that he's
school
at Jackson State, he is losing high-end dollars. He needs to leave immediately. So he screwed them kids. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, let me jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
no one projects your NFL status out of high school. So to say that he was projected to be a top 5 NFL pick is a falsehood. What he was a number 1 recruit or number 2, depending on whichever poll you were using. But at worst case, he was a number 2 recruit out of high school. There's a lot of high-end recruits that flame out in college. So the idea that he lost money by attending Jackson State for a single season, man, I'm not buying that. Second of all, like I said, it's one season. If Travis was to transfer from Jackson State to wherever, he enters the transfer portal, he spends the next 2 seasons balling out at wherever he's going to be. How did he lose any money? I don't like the idea that you automatically are placing this narrative on Jackson State. Like, man, you can't make it from Jackson State. Like, that's the same bullshit they keep saying about us in the first place.
And let me say
that's the reason Prime was supposed to be coming to change.
Hold on, both of y'all. So I do think that Travis Hunter is going to Boulder with Prime. I think I saw a report on that recently. But so go ahead, Jay. Will you raise your hand?
No,
I did not say that he can't make it.
That's what. No, I'm saying ending with that's what Prime was coming to fix. The fact that you can't.
Right.
No.
From
Hold on, Stokes.
Right, my bad.
But then you got to think about this. Hunter Renfro, he from down where Gooch from, baseball player. The whole time he was at Mississippi State, he didn't see many at bats at all. He's a baseball player, right? He in the league of potential, pure potential. So they would have drafted him, given him a shot, even if he said, I'm not playing no more football until I'm draft eligible. I'm just going to work towards my draft stock. He still would get drafted right now. He got film Kyrie Irving on the play 8 games at Duke. So if they want you and they saw that talent is there, they're going to get you. So that really is it's okay to think that. But now you got to prove it. You got to prove it because he's going to have to play an NFL receiver every game now. So it's like, all right, you really better earn your money now. They're going to say, well, he wasn't as good as we thought. So now I'm wishing him the best. I really hope that kid goes pro. But it's like, and then another thing about us being so bitter, which is not the truth, because when the kid left and went to Michigan, we all was hoping like, damn, I hope the kid get a ring, a national championship at Michigan. Well, it's not because he left the right way. It's a right way to do stuff and it's a wrong way to do stuff. So it's just like, we being blamed. Like they brought up the relationship analogy. When people on the outside look at a relationship, they're going to always say either that dude was wrong or that chick was wrong. And it's like, we get the rep for being like we did something. Well, they couldn't do that. I'm like, damn. All we did was get his man a shot. But
hold on, let's bring it back. The kids. How should the kids, those student athletes who listened to Prime, bought into his message and said, you know what, I'm gonna turn down these Power 5, like Stokes said, I'm gonna turn down these Power 5 offers, these scholarships, these facilities, and come to you, and you leave after the second year, however long it took to recruit them. How should these kids, especially having the SWAC championship moment taken from them and going to the Celebration Bowl, it's not going to be about them.
Angry
the Celebration Bowl is not going to be about them.
Where the hell were their daddies at?
That's what Stokes.
I'm just saying.
Go ahead, nigga.
Look, where the hell were their daddies at? If I'm Travis Hunter, I turned down Florida State to come to Jackson State to go to Colorado.
Man, it's not just about Travis, though, man. It's other recruits that we need to focus on other than just Travis.
And Travis followed Deion. Like, it's not about the school at that point. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
I ain't trying to get out the topic, but when you make statements like where they daddies at, it's like you don't even grasp the situation that we in. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we got our daddies in our life, but as a black community,
some of us,
as a black community, you know what I'm saying? So when you make statements like that, it's like you're oblivious to what's actually going on. Similarly, the way Coach Prime just bounced on us and didn't pass off the baton right, it's just like he was dismissive of everything that he was preaching. He's dismissive of the culture. You know what I'm saying? He's dismissive of what we actually going through.
Let's bring it back.
Going to the question, how should the kids?
I got some.
I got you making next.
Coach Prime is dismissive of those kids. He said he might be taking 10 with them. Okay, you might say it's the business of football, and that's just how football works. But Coach Prime was like a father figure to some of those kids. And now you just like, hey,
he was an absent father. They
you'll
met
see
his ass
it.
on
He your
Tuesday,
first, he
he
your
left
first
on Friday.
lesson. He your first lesson in college football in real life.
Go ahead, Miggy.
All right. So the question was, how do you feel about the student athletes? And to me, they got a raw deal. And they got a raw deal because right now the focus isn't on celebrating their dominance as athletes. They technically have won 12 games straight, has not lost a game in a SWAC in 2 years. And no one is talking about that because Deion stole their shine. That's the first thing. Second thing, we talked about Celebration Bowl. Celebration Bowl will be all about Deion and Shador leaving. So even on the cusp of a Black National Championship and an undefeated season, we don't get a chance to celebrate that. So once again, they lost that shine. The third thing is you're creating haves and have-nots, even in our culture within the student athletes, because the haves are the ones that Deion plucks. He says, man, you're good enough to go with me to Colorado. That's why he said, I got 10 dogs and they all gonna hunt. You know what I'm saying? He sees something in those that says, you're better than the rest of them, so you can come with me. The rest of them, he's like, y'all not good enough, y'all stay here. You know what I'm saying? So now you're creating division and angst amongst the team because you're basically saying, I'm taking these select few with me. It wasn't supposed to be taking anybody with you. You're supposed to be here with us. You know what I'm saying? That's what you preach. That's what you told us. We came for you. We got hope for you. We believed in you. That one message that Deion presented was, I believe. And they all believed and they all went out and performed because of that belief. Right. And you just crushed that by saying, like, I don't even believe in all of y'all. I only believe in a select few. And I'm taking y'all with me to go prove it here at this white school. Like, it's just all bad from that standpoint.
I agree. I'll say what you think.
No, I agree with him absolutely, because you have the people who were basically NFL prospects, right? Had NFL talent. And they came on board saying, we are going to do something here. We're still going to get our visibility. We're still going to get the looks that you would anywhere else. He goes, they say, hey, come on with us. Don't do that here. Right. Mm-hmm. So that just kind of goes against everything that they came for to get here. Now you have the people who could not are deemed to be ready to play at that level. Half of them probably had other options. It might not have been P5, but they had other options. But they made that move saying, if Deion is bringing in these top level talent, I want to play with those type of guys. I want to test my skill against these type of guys. So when the smoke clears, you have a mix of people who went and basically did a year at Jackson State off of a certain objective. Now they're just doing as status quo as how everything's been done. Go to the P5, try to find your way. And now you have these other people left to try with the pressure to say, hey, I need you guys to kind of keep this going. Mm-hmm. I think that's also going to just be a lot of pressure on the people who's left, right? You came off 2 back-to-back championships, an undefeated season.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to come and say, were those 10 guys that left what made the team, right?
Because their backup quarterback was trash.
Man, let me say something real quick, Swift.
Go ahead.
He talking about. They kept saying Shador was 2 completions away. I'm like, man, go and run a jet sweep and get that junk over with. But early in the season, when you was past that, you up by 35, 40 points, you could have been the backup quarterback prepared to play when you leave. You decide to selfishly leave your son and dangerously leave your son in to chase out the numbers when you could have been developing the next wave, knowing that you was going to take them and leave anyway. So you definitely left us up a creek intentionally.
Yeah, I feel like this. Those kids should feel devastated. For all the reasons that everybody else on the panel has spoken about, y'all are absolutely right. I just want to add an extra little tidbit on how I think Deion's departure is more detrimental to this school than he may ultimately realize. When y'all speak of dominance, when you speak of 2 seasons where we haven't lost a SWAC game, you speak of an undefeated season, 12 games in a row, back-to-back, the possibility of a Black National Championship and all of these things. When you speak of all of these things, and then you point out, and this is a narrative that reverberates around, us in general, where white ice is always colder than black ice, so to speak.
Yeah.
You got the best black program in the country, and it still wasn't good enough for the worst white program in the country, probably. I ain't saying Colorado is the worst, but it's one of them.
It's definitely the worst.
It's one of them. I can tell you that.
They had,
So-
if I remember correctly, Colorado had 4 coaches in 5 years and went 1-11 last year. So
They went 1-11 last year. So
Yeah.
what kind of message are you speaking to future recruits that when you tell them, hey, you don't have to do it at these PWIs, you don't have to do it for them. Bring your talent to us. Let us highlight your talent. Come play for us, and we can get you where you want to go if you just put in the work. Like you said, the same message that he was preaching, but then I leave a program that is probably the best in the country as far as HBCUs is concerned, or just just the Division I AA. I personally have to be the best in all the Division I AA, but it's definitely amongst the black colleges. You leave that program for the worst white college in the country, and they said that before. I've heard this analogy or this saying, like, you take any white person in America and they wouldn't trade lives with the even the worst white man in America wouldn't trade lives like the best black man. I'm messing up the actual adage, but I've heard that before, and to me, that's what I feel like Deion has shown, and I feel like that's actually gonna be counterproductive to future recruits being able to be attracted to black colleges, because you show, hey man, even the best black college in the world ain't as good as the worst white one.
Right.
That sucks. Those kids feel devastated.
Stokes had a question real quick. Go ahead.
All right, so once we remove our feelings from the situation, I got a question about it. If let's say he continues this trend and he gets high-end talent, last year he got Travis Hunter. This year he got Winston Watkins, right? Top-end receiver, one of the best in the country. I think he's number 2 overall or something of that nature. If he stays to hand off Travis, Shador, and whoever else from this first class, when can he have left? Because if he leaves when Travis leaves, Watkins is now a sophomore. I'm assuming he's going to bring in the top whatever after Watkins. So now that person's a freshman. We got him stuck in this trap, and he's passing up opportunity costs. He can't leave because he's so successful at bringing in his top-end talent. So when would be a good time to leave?
First good point Stokes made tonight.
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of.
No, because I actually agree with you. I made that argument with other people that, again, using the relationship analogy, there's no good time to break up with a person.
We're gonna wait for Christmas, or we gonna?
But it ain't a relationship. But I think there's a good time when you have something set up that's shown to be successful and work. You have a mechanism, you have a process. I think once that's proven that, hey, if you do these things happen, anybody can replicate this, right? We don't know, based on the way this ended, can someone come in and replicate where they left off? No, they have to start from less than where they started, right?
But he left the blueprint, remember?
I'm gonna compound that real quick though. I like that question, Stokes. When is a good time to leave? And did Deion fulfill his obligations like he said at Jackson State?
Never and yes.
You should never leave.
I mean, it's never. No, you asked the question. When is a good time to leave? Never. And did he fulfill his obligations? Yes.
Okay.
You paid him to do a job. You didn't pay him to be your friend. It's a job, not a career.
It is a job, and Coach Prime fulfilled all of his contractual obligations.
No, he didn't.
But
he didn't even fulfill his contractual obligations.
We talking about something beyond the contract. We talking about beyond something. We talking about beyond the business of college football.
Yeah,
we talking about a tide that was shifting where people were starting to prefer HBCUs over these Power 5 schools, and a message that Prime was spearheading. He was spearheading this whole, he was the crest of that wave where people were starting to come back home. And now that he did this, man, that tide gone.
Look,
just real quick,
when is a good time to leave? It would have been a good time. Nobody expected Prime to stay long term. If you ask anybody how long they expected Prime to stay at Jackson,
3-4 years.
it would be hard pressed to say anybody expected him to stay more than 4 years.
Yeah.
Most people said like 3 years. You know what I'm saying? He gave us 2. He gave us 2 years.
No, 3 seasons.
That's 2 years, bro.
It's still 2 years.
He was hired in September of 2020. He gave us 2 years and 3 months.
3 seasons. Don't discount a season now. That's not
Man,
fair.
this
That
season-
COVID season don't
that
come
COVID
on.
season does not count. I went to 2 of them games.
Is it not included in his record?
So to answer the question, when would be a good time to leave? I feel like if he would have gave us 1 more year, it wouldn't have been no question because he would have had a transition year to be able to, make things, get people on board. You know what I'm saying?
This is prime, not Obama.
People were expecting him to leave after 3 or 4 years. 3 years would have been another year. It would have been a good time next year.
That was calendar years.
Real quick, Jay, go ahead.
Let me say this, folks. The main thing that he was saying, because he was a draft evaluator, is that I can get these boys drafted. How many first round draft picks did we get?
We only had 1 draft. We only had 1 draft since he been
No
here.
first round.
It wasn't the first round draft pick. First round draft picks get guaranteed money, and they lowball us and draft us later so that they don't have to give us the guaranteed money. You know why the Dolphins lost yesterday? Because their left tackle, who was a product of an HBCU, was out. He should have stayed with the Saints, but that's neither here nor there. They get to lowball our people. They get to lowball them because they won't draft them. And then they say, the reason why we don't draft you is because you don't play against top competition. But then we're in a rush to come and get you for the cheap. So it's like you said, Coach Prime, that you were going to change that. We couldn't even get nobody drafted to the XFL. So that means the stuff that you said did not happen. So you didn't leave. You didn't fulfill all that shit you said. You just were a great salesman. We got finesse. That's fine. Time to move on. He ain't swag. We ain't got to keep talking about him because he gone. He Pac-12 now.
Anybody else want to jump on this before I go to my next one?
Well, I want to say in terms of did he fulfill his contractual obligations? In my mind, this is the one thing I will agree with Stokes about, is how we moved the goalpost initially. When Prime was very first hired, I remember us having a discussion, even amongst ourselves, man, how long y'all think he gonna stay? First of all, we were shocked that he was even coming. Man, Prime come to Jackson State, like 3. Deion Sanders coming to Jackson State. Then the conversation was, well, how long y'all think he was gonna stay? And I vividly remember us basically saying, man, I give him 3 years. At the time, Shedeur was a freshman. Man, by the time Shedeur was draft eligible,
He'll graduate. Yep.
So to go back to your previous question is, when would it have been a good time to leave? My expectations from the very beginning was we would get Prime for long enough to see Shedeur off, and then he'd probably be gone to greener pasture, so to speak. So to me, I do feel like we didn't get the full benefit of having him here because I felt like he left the job undone. Like you said, we haven't even had a real draft class. Anybody that actually got drafted from Jackson State, other than what's my guy name with the Lions?
Linebackers.
James Houston.
Houston. The problem.
He balled out, So
Still ball.
Oh yeah. So outside of Houston, we didn't even really get anybody drafted. You know what I'm saying? Like you could point out, like, hey, Houston's doing this thing. But what round did he go in?
But honestly, people still throw an asterisk on Houston because he came out of Florida first?
I can't remember where he transferred from, but yeah. So it's the same thing. They're saying, oh, well, they used tape from his time at this school or that school, and not to take from Jackson State to evaluate him. So it's like, did you really change the perception? No, you haven't.
And they're gonna do the same thing with Shedeur.
Yeah, I would say we will see
use
that
Colorado tape
in this upcoming draft to see if the perception has changed about players coming from HBCUs. So in this upcoming draft, if we again don't get anybody drafted, then to me, he didn't affect the kind of change that he brought in, saying, hey, I'm going to affect change. I'm going to show y'all that it can be done right here at HBCU. You don't have to take your talents to a PWI. If we don't get anybody drafted, no, he didn't complete the mission.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question, Twin. Typically, correct me if I'm wrong, there's typically 1 season played per year, right?
True.
Right. Did we or did we not play 3 seasons?
We played 2 seasons in a single calendar year. We played a spring season and a fall
That's not
season.
my question. Did we or did we not play 3 seasons? Is a yes or
No, we played 2.5. We played
spring season like 5 games.
Yeah, we played 7 games. We went 4-3 in the spring
that's
season. So we didn't play a full season.
This question. That's fine. All right, so bro. You got it.
Okay. Anybody else want real quick? So before we got to that part, we was talking about these students, right? These student athletes, how they got a raw deal, how Deion kind of left them high and dry. It was like, y'all not coming with me to Colorado. I'm taking 10 student athletes, and it is what it is. But I'm also seeing reports that Deion is coaching at the Celebration Bowl. Do y'all agree with Deion coaching at the Celebration Bowl? Or don't say
Hey, I'm gonna put it like this. Y'all gonna say it's gonna be a bad look for Jackson State, but if y'all want to see a coach get booed on national TV, when prime time
Don't
come
do
walking
it.
out,
Y'all got
Don't
to
do it.
bro.
So Stokes, hold on, y'all.
do it.
Hold on. Stokes say yes. I'm gonna go to Stokes first. Stokes, why do you think that Prime or Deion should coach at the Celebration Bowl?
One, because at the end of the day, he has association with Jackson State. So until that association is severed, finish your job. I look at it like this. If there is an agreement, fulfill your agreement. I'm very big about morality. And if I have a deal with you, I'm not saying he is, Ward. If I have a deal to finish a job, and if this is the part that he's going to finish, then finish the job. Now, the part that I feel that is unfair for those kids, he's strong-arming those kids to compete, because if they don't, they have to explain it to the next coach, as he said in his video. So he's forcing them to compete because those are probably his best chance to win that game. So I personally think that he should finish so these kids can have an untarnished record, because this is their legacy. Ain't got nothing to do with him. So you finish something strong. Ain't got nothing to do with him.
You said this has nothing to do with him?
So them saying as the players, let the players finish out their legacy. Right. I think there's two different things at play. He should finish what he started this season, right? Because even when this happened, for example, when Kirby got hired at Georgia, he still finished out that season with Alabama. Same principle.
But Kirby was a coordinator. He was not the head guy.
It's the same
And
principle.
it never happens with the head guy.
Yeah.
It never happens with the head guy.
I ain't never seen a head
The
coach.
leader of the snake is never the one.
Hold on, y'all be quiet. Hold on, y'all, real quick. So if I'm not mistaken, if a head coach accepts a job before the bowl game, they usually do not coach at that bowl game. Power
Exactly.
5. Go ahead, Stokes.
But still, if they're a critical part of that team, i.e. a coordinator or the head coach, not coaching will impact the team.
Stokes.
So I think he should finish so the team could have what they started, which is an undefeated season. Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead, Ward.
Leaving Georgia, did he go through? When he was leaving Alabama to go to Georgia, did he go do a press conference before the bowl game or after?
Facts.
Wait, no. It was
And address the players before the bowl game or after. His job at the new school did not start until the season at the school he was at was over. He works for Colorado now. Don't come coach Jackson State, because you don't work for us. You work for Colorado now. So don't come back to coach us. Nah, we good. We good, coach. You trained us well. We got you. We're going to go out here and win this for you. And Shador shouldn't play either, because he going to come out there and half-ass play.
Hey, Shador don't play. We getting beat by 40.
Hurt. Don't get hurt.
Was
So-
a difference now? Shador can play, but Prime can't coach.
No,
So, Mike, what you say about that goalpost, bro?
no, I said he shouldn't play, and Prime shouldn't coach, because he's gonna go out there and half-ass play anyway. He's gonna go out there and say, "Hey, protect yourself, son. Don't go out there and get hurt." The same thing he pulled Travis. Travis, don't go out here and get hurt for no SWAC championship.
So it sounds like
Travis not playing in the Celebration Bowl. So
those $10.
Hey, I'm gonna say this too, because Stokes,
Hold on. Go ahead, though.
Stokes, you're being a little hypocritical now, because you're talking about the students' legacy and all that kind of stuff.
I did go.
You talking about on the student side, you talk about the legacy. This is the intangibles. But when it comes to Coach Prime, it's all contract. You know what I'm saying? These kids ain't got
the students not getting paid like that. They care.
they ain't obligated to
They
be in
live
bowl game like
Cheez-Its and pizza they getting is nothing compared to this $5 million he getting. Come on, man. They care more about this undefeated season.
Shador.
I'll say this. In terms of when you initially talked about Coach Sanders and how, this is a business and so on and so forth. You made it sound like, hey man, this is cut and dry. All right, well, if we're gonna treat it like how any other coach, because you basically made it sound like, man, this is how all the other coaches do it. Like bro said, I've never seen a head coach accept a position at another school and then coach at the previous school in which he just left. I've seen it a couple of times with coordinators, just a couple. But even with coordinators, when Kirby Smart or Lane Kiffin or some of these other guys get jobs, that's it. They done. They leave. And now that is true. I didn't say it happens every time. I said I've seen it where when they accept the job at the other school, they don't coach the bowl game. It is what it is. In my mind, I don't think Deion should coach, but if he does, what I will say to the fan base is, man, it's a bad look for us. Like I said, don't be that jilted lover. Don't boo the man. Because at the end of the day, we're cheering on Jackson State. Jackson State is what we should be cheering for. And I don't want to tarnish what we could possibly celebrate by spending all this time and vitriol trying to hoist it at Deion Sanders. Like, man, let's go and cheer on our fans, cheer on our team, our players, and our school, and leave all that extra stuff. I don't want to get out here and look like the side chick that, never got chose or nothing like that, bro. Like, that's me personally.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad look for the fans.
I get you.
Or the side
get you, man.
He
does not coach in game anyway. He just stands there and talks to Shadoo. So he don't.
There you go. Hey,
here we go.
Y'all gotta chill, yo.
Hold on.
Hey,
but real talk.
He stands at the field.
What did he say?
So he gonna just be a distraction on the sideline. Tell him to attend the game, sit in the press box, sit in the skybox. We'll give him a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause for our previous coach, Coach Sanders, and everything he did for us. And then let TC, who is the real coach anyway, let him coach and the other coordinators coach that game to the best of their abilities. He don't have to
lose then what?
I'll say I don't. If he does come to the game or if he does coach, whatever the case may be, we shouldn't boo him. I do agree there. Let's go and cheer these kids on. We can talk trash on social media all day, but when it comes to at the game, let's not boo the man. Go ahead, Osei.
Nah, so I actually think you should coach it. Like, finish your food, man. Like, you already, like, you're leaving the cafeteria, but at least finish the plate you got in front of you, right? And Shador definitely should play it. One, the objective should be winning the game. So put the best players that you have available on the field within reason, and let's try to get a W, right? Put Prime out there. If they're going to benefit as a team for him actually coaching, let's put that out there. Like, there's no point in playing semantics. Like, Prime obviously doesn't follow the rules that we've seen outlined in the past. So if coaches haven't done it before, Prime is different. He's done a lot of things. I've never seen a coach walk out and ask for theme music either, right? So let that man coach in a bowl game. Bring out his son so we can have a great chance of winning that quarterback. If you boo, you a lame, like, straight up. And I got these hands, so if I see you out there booing, and two, plus, like, when a coach come out there, there's a bunch of players coming out.
North Carolina, is he game planning for North Carolina, or is he developing a staff and looking for recruits? How is he going to come up with a game plan when his job and his obligations is to get players for Colorado? He's not going to give North Carolina his undivided attention. So he's a distraction at this point. He's a liability at this point.
But
let me come in.
Like, a game plan is going to be, somebody's going to have a game plan. He has other people on there who's going to work on a game plan. But game plans by themselves sometimes don't work. You need certain people on there to motivate people, certain people to get players correct. I can see if Shador was having problems on the field, that game plan is not going to get his head in it. His coach and father on the sideline talking to him could get his head in the game, right? Yeah. There's no point in playing semantics and going to the Celebration Bowl and losing again, right?
But the reason why his head won't be in it, Osei, is because Deion created this. Like, why are we absolving him from a situation that he himself created? I understand the why. He want to go ahead and get a jump on the player portal. It just opened. It's 1,000 kids in there already. So he's trying to utilize his charisma, his ability to recruit, to try to poach some of these 5- and 4-star that are transferring out. If you wait until the 17th, maybe that portal starts to shrink a little bit and he can't get those recruits. So I understand the logistics, but by him voluntarily choosing to accept this job in the middle of our season, you can say, we only got one more game. It's still in the middle because it's not done yet. He has created an environment where it has become all about him. So to me, the answer is no. He shouldn't coach because he created this drama. He created the distraction, like Jay Ward said, because he could have easily made a sacrifice to say, I will forego getting these recruits for this year and this year alone because I want to make sure that I give my team right now the best chance to win. And he didn't do that.
Hold on, real quick.
He didn't do that.
Stokes, I'm going to follow up. Let me go Joey then Stokes because Mike, did you talk?
I got one. It's a quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Okay, but before you go, Stokes, just want to make an observation. This man Deion on his Instagram, thank you Deion for showing me this. On his Instagram, got Go JSU football and head coach for both teams in his Instagram profile. I have never in my life seen that before. Go ahead, Stokes.
Deion, a wild boy, man. He a wild boy. That was wild, man.
Oh, so who you recruiting for then?
All right. Look.
Who you coaching for? You got both Colorado and JSU in your bio as the head coach for both teams? Go ahead, Stokes.
If we don't allow him or the other 10 players or whoever to play, when we lose, is it his fault or the remaining people that play's fault? Because we can't have him not coach and them not play and then still blame him for the loss. So whose fault is it?
He is because he created the media distraction. He created the storm.
We can't even let him coach and he's still at fault for it. Where's our accountability?
Yeah. No. See that's where Miguel was saying we're shifting the accountability to everybody except Deion. He's accountable for it. He created this distraction.
Question on that. So I get the drama and all the noise, right? But is him coaching detrimental to the team winning the game? That's all I want to understand. Like, do y'all think him being out there coaching is actually going to be worse off for the team to be able to win versus him not being? I think
it's divisive as we speak. From what I'm understanding, it's already a divided locker room because, like somebody else mentioned on the panel earlier, you created an environment of the have and have-nots. You know, you got some guys who he's probably already in their ear saying, "Hey, I want you to come with me. I want you to come with me." And then there are certain guys that, like Travis, where he's already said, "Hey, you're not even playing this game because you're too valuable. I don't want to even run the risk of whatever." So the guys whose ear he hasn't been in, or the guys who they don't know, it's like, man, why am I going out playing my ass off for a guy who don't even think enough of me to take me with him or whatever? The only thing you can lean on, real quick, I'm gonna say this and I'm done. The only thing you can lean on is what what's my guy, the linebacker who's Aubrey Miller. Okay, the only thing you can lean on is what Miller basically said. Guys, I could have been gone last year. I stayed for this because it left a bad taste in my mouth last year. When we did what we did and lost, I came back for this. So don't play for Deion. Don't play for this guy. Man, play for the brother that's playing next to you, and let's go accomplish what we said we were going to accomplish at the beginning. That's the only thing that's going to galvanize this team. I don't think Deion in and of itself can do it. I think those guys have to lean on each other in order to win this game. But personally, I don't think Deion should coach. But if he does, we got to be gracious as fans, man. We can't be out here looking like some suckers by booing and trashing the man. Looking like some old scorn women and shit. Like, man, y'all gotta. We can't do that now. That we can't do.
I do agree with BK. Me personally, if they win without the 10 players in prime, they'll be more together without them, especially going to next season. If they don't hit the transfer portal, I think that will galvanize the team and they'll keep winning and moving forward. Somebody else has something to say?
I'm just gonna piggyback off the guilty lover thing. I'm not no guilty lover. You know, as far as I look at Prime right now, he had the potential to be like an Eddie Robinson of our time. He had that. He wasn't there. He wasn't close, but he had the potential. Their potential gone now. He ain't got the potential no more. But should he coach at the game? Nah, he shouldn't coach at the game. I look at him as an above average coach. I think it's a mutually beneficial agreement. Jackson State got some good things out of Prime. Prime got some good things out of Jackson State. And right now, he's just a non-factor. He not even like a welcome home to the homecoming type of guy. He just a guy that went to Jackson State. You know what I'm saying? He just thank
Hey,
you.
I do want to say this though, man, because bro brought it up the point earlier. Like, we getting a lot of these feelings out. We venting right now. But when it is all said and done, man, we will applaud Coach Prime and what he brought to us and helped us to accomplish in his short amount of time, and also the space that he's opening up for us. Now, me and Stokes had this conversation the other day, and I want to bring it back to this. I really hope that Deion shifts his message, his focus to now creating those opportunities for us in the coaching ranks. Go and hire more of us on your coaching staff. Go and make sure that you are getting the best resources and the players that are coming in that can then go back out and go into some of these lower level schools. And you're still taking your connections and passing them along behind the scenes. So maybe you call a TC and say, hey, TC, did you know about this? You know what I'm saying? Be on the lookout for this advertisement or this sponsor, or, you know, here go the number to such and such. I hope he's doing that behind the scenes, because that's ultimately what we expect from him. If you're going to take the baton and move us forward as a culture, then occupy that space that we don't occupy with Power Fives, and make that be a haven for us, that you can bring us in and say, hey, I'm giving starts to all these coaches, these black coaches. Don't fill your coaching staff up with a bunch of white people. You could do that at Jackson State, bring up in a bunch of us, because we're expected to be there. But at the Power Five, you gonna still do that? That's what I want to see. And if you do that, he'll earn my respect back.
He can do that now. He has a budget.
So to that point, and I'm gonna segue to our last topic real quick. To that point, I did read a report that he is taking Willie Simmons, FAMU head coach, with him to Colorado. So he may be doing that. We're gonna see. But my boy Tony Scott.
But now you take an asset from another HBCU.
I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all.
He was a great coach. Like, don't do that.
That's all it is. Look, for him to take that guy with him, that somebody else can fill that gap. He has $4 million of revenue now that he can use to hire additional coaches. He ain't had it at Jackson State. Now he can hire other coaches to bring us in the door. So I'm saying you got to crack some eggs and make an omelet. It happens. You got to get the fuck
over. But he poaching all our best talent, man.
Hey,
why you not seeing that part?
First of all,
hold on, real quick, Mike. Tony Scott, you asked to coach where? He is taking Willie Simmons away from FAMU as the head coach to coach at Colorado with him as the offensive coordinator, if I read that correctly. Go ahead, Mike.
Shout out to our brother Tarian Hearn. He was on the Breakfast Club this morning. If y'all haven't seen the link, you know what I'm saying? Somebody dropped the link in the comments. Go check him out. He was on the Breakfast Club, and he said something earlier, and he kind of, got Charlemagne back in check, because he said, and this is one thing I didn't like about hearing he's pulling the FAMU coach. They always post the best of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like they post the best of us to elevate themselves. And I don't like how they are taking our best resources and shifting it somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought the whole premise of his message was, man, we're going to keep our resources in-house. The best of us are going to shine a spotlight here. So now you're taking our best coaches and our best players, and you send them to the same PWI that you said we didn't need. I don't like that. I appreciate the fact that he might be giving somebody else an opportunity. I just don't like the fact that you taking the best of us. You know what I'm saying?
Twin, give somebody else an opportunity. If we get elevated or terminated,
man, that's some more snake oil salesman bullshit, man. I ain't trying to hear that.
I agree with you. It's marketing. It's marketing that we don't want to hear. But is this not a better opportunity for that guy? Is this not a promotion for that guy? Can that guy not take?
I don't know. How many coordinators do you? How many of the names of the coordinators do you know? We don't know that this is an elevation for him.
But my question is, can he now take this opportunity at a Power 5 school and parlay this into a head coaching opportunity at a Power 5 school? And now we have more coaches, black coaches, at a Power 5 school, which I thought we celebrated.
They'll give him Colorado. They ain't gonna give us no Auburn.
Yeah,
we got to climb up to that.
Hey, real quick, I know Swift getting ready to try to change the topic, but I want to make this point real quick.
Go ahead, dumb twin.
we gotta stop pretending like one black person's success is helping everybody. I feel like Simmons can do more good for the culture and other young black students at a FAMU, but he can do more for himself at Colorado. So yes, Stokes, it's a great opportunity for Simmons. But what about the rest of us? We need to be trying to reach and grab as much of us as we can to elevate us as a whole, not just those single one that can make it out.
No. So if I remember earlier, T's question on Breakfast Club, check it out again, was about how do we close the gap? Now, if we have two black coaches at a Power 5 school and they end to go to different schools, those coaches can now pull other people with them.
But it's not
There's
about
more resources.
Hold on.
It's not like we're talking about. Hold up 1 second. It's not like we're talking about black lawyers, black doctors, black engineers that HBCUs produce the most of. We're talking about athletics. The resources are different. It's just a fact. Go ahead, Swift.
So the question is, when will HBCUs stop being luncheon pads and start being destinations? Why does it look like? Why does it seems like when they go to a P5 that it's elevation, it's a step up instead of staying here at home and they doing for the black community what they're doing at these P5s? But I'm gonna go into this last topic. So we talked about Deion not coaching. We talked about him potentially like I saw it on football school, for potentially taking Willie Simmons with him. And I saw some people agree that TC should be the next head coach at Jackson State. Some people don't think so. What about Shiloh? I think Shiloh gonna stay at Jackson State. He loves Jackson State coaching.
But get burned alive in the Pac-12. We both know that.
We'll talk about that later. Who should be the next coach at Jackson State? Why? And when should they start?
Immediately.
Who you think should be the next? Go ahead, Jay. I'm gonna let you go. Who should be the next head coach? Should we? Let me rephrase it another way too.
Big Zo Breland.
Right. Should we go for that celebrity like Deion to keep the marketing, the brand, the attraction of NFL, ESPN going? That foundation, that blueprint, I guess, that they have set. Or should we pull up from our own ranks to get a TC or a Zoe or what's my guy at Valley?
Vince Dancy.
Yeah. Dance. Yes. Or should we look to our own who we know will put in the work at Jackson State and stay there 5-10 years because they're coaching for the love and not to elevate and go to a P5. You know what? I wasn't going with Jay Ward first. I ain't heard Osei talking a while. Osei, who do you think we should go with? Who should we grab and why?
All right. So I don't have a specific name, but I think the hire depends on what you're trying to do, right? If you're just trying to win the SWAC games, get the best you can get and go as we've done before, then you get in-house or you get anybody who the players trust and you can keep a program going. If you're trying to keep some of this momentum going, you need a big hire, right? You want someone with experience, but you also want someone that you're going to flush out more about commitment. I think there's a big opportunity for this to happen, but I don't think you just pick somebody who's around because they're available, right? And I think the AD is actually doing a national search to make sure he's flushing out the best candidates possible, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, just don't get anybody just because you can pull them. They definitely need to start like ASAP, like very quickly. And they need to get engaged. I think they need to definitely like flush this out a lot more and think about what the plan is, right? I never knew what the AD or Jackson State's long-term plan was when it came to any of this, right? It was like, we here, it's good, we rolling, and we just gonna ride till the wheels fall off, right? What is the long-term plan? What are you trying to accomplish? What's the goal? And then how do you get there? Because I think we're at the point where, from a fan base, it looks like we at a point where we just don't need wins, right? We win, we expect to win. We expect to go to the SWAC championship. What are we going to do more from a long term and building a program?
Jay Ward, what you get?
I think if we go by the quote unquote blueprint, which I think is bullshit, but if we're going to go by the blueprint, bringing in a name that's going to keep recruiting I think you look at Ed Reed or Vic have expressed interest in coaching. Both we know are very cerebral men who understand the X's and O's of football. I think Ed Reed would really, 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 really be the best bet if we're gonna go with a celebrity coach. But I think he would be the best for it. If we went more traditional, I would say Mentor from Campbell was a really good coach. Vince Dancy or Big Zoe Bremen. I'm gonna go if we want to go to the NFL and really, really try to give two people a shot. And this is a long shot, but it'll be the best coach and the name. Brian Flores or Eric Bieniemy, who is the offensive coordinator at the Chiefs, who cannot get a coaching job. I think he would be the best option if he wants to take a downgrade in salary, but an upgrade in experience. I think he would be a good bet, and he can say, I'm the person who credited Patrick Mahomes, and no quarterback is going to say no to him. So if we want to go with, so coach or a coach with a name, Brian Flores or Eric Bieniemy. And let me just say this real quick too, with those coaches. Some of the responsibilities falls on SWAC commissioners and the president to make sure funds are available to be able to pay these people. So it's not all on Jackson State. It wasn't Deion. The problem existed before Deion. So, the SWAC commissioners need to stop taking pennies on the dollar as well to make sure that there are funds available to be able to pay these people what they're worth.
Gotcha. Stokes, who you think should be the next man up?
Nick, son.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. First of all, I don't have a name, but I do have, in terms of what you mentioned, between celebrity versus homegrown. Mm-hmm. How do we avoid the same situation while doing the same activity? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting change. Yeah. So we're going to go back to the NFL or back to somebody that's celebrity. One, we don't have the money, but we're still chasing the clout. We want them to do a charity or step down and pay. Or go crowd fund or go fund me for a coach. We just don't have a market for that type of name, but we want them to do a charity. Mm-hmm. So going after these big names that we can't afford, we're going to be insolvent as a university versus going after our homegrown people who we said we want someone that's going to be of us and pull us up and take us with us, be the best of us. We want our coaches to give ourselves an opportunity. Why are we not giving ourselves an opportunity? Good point. We sound hypocritical. I agree with that. But we want to win now. So for that, I think we should go homegrown versus celebrity and stop being a cloud chaser.
Is there not a middle ground to that? Like homegrown doesn't mean
the middle ground is go get the best white coach. There we go. That's gonna solve all our problems because white is right?
Yeah, baby.
Why not a name like
I'm being silly.
like a Kevin Sumlin or something like that? Not a celebrity, but somebody who's coached at the SEC level, who probably still should be a coach somewhere, and he may be out of coach. He was the head coach at Texas A&M when they were in the SEC.
Coach Johnny Manziel.
I don't know if he's still in coaching, but a name like that, like a guy who had an opportunity, who's no longer coaching because his one stop, he got that. We only get one chance. You get maybe 2 years to turn around a program that's terrible. And then if you can't turn around a program in 2 years, they get rid of you. Well, we gave you a shot. So why not go and get a somebody like a Kevin Sumlin or who was that coach that was at I think it was Texas, black guy.
Charlie Strong?
Yeah, I think it was Charlie Strong or somebody like that. Just maybe a coach who's had opportunities on the big stage and didn't necessarily succeed there or wasn't given a chance to succeed there and can maybe parlay that into, coaching at Jackson State. So it's kind of like a balance between the celebrity and the homegrownness where it's like.
Well, they paid him $5 million a year with a $10 million buyout. Can you afford that?
I gotta address this because Stokesy coming back to this money, which is part of the reason.
What it is.
Okay. Let me address it then, because this is part of the reason why we mad at Prime. Where would the money be if all our top talent and top black coaches, top black talent, were at these HBCUs versus the Power Five? Where would the money be then? We started
talking about
behind the
50
eight
years
ball.
ago?
If we had all the, if we would
Hold on. Joey, wrap it up in your final statement. Let's wrap it because we have 1:30. So,
all right, let's go.
who would you choose, or
Oh,
where would you go?
if you talking about middle of the road, coach, I'm saying like Mentor from Campbell, or I think we should go high profile. If we go middle of the road like Mike Mentor, but if we're going high profile, hey, Mike Vick, bring somebody. I don't know.
Let's try this one more time. All right.
Mike. I mean, Mike went. Was it Mike or Mickey that went already?
Now Mike went.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Man, truthfully, it don't matter who the coach is if I'm keeping it a buck. Because what do we focus on? Are we focused on winning culture of our football team, or are we trying to elevate HBCUs? I feel like we have two different missions. And so depending on which mission we're trying to accomplish, it will determine our coach. To be honest, I think our football program with a TC or a mentor, whatever, would be just fine. But what about the mission of elevating HBCUs? That's what
we're trying
I feel
to
like
max out.
I feel like that's what our new focus should be. And so from that, my standpoint would probably be a celebrity coach. We need someone who can help create those connections to the NFLs and the sponsors and all these other places to help funnel money in. Because we may not like what Stokes has been saying all night long, but Stokes is absolutely right on the money, tongue in cheek, because it's all about the money. We need the funding. We need the way to bring revenue and eyeballs to HBCUs. And if we can get the money, everything else will fall into place. So my vote would be find a way to find someone who can help bring dollars to Jackson State.
All right. So I want to thank everyone for coming on. We're going to wrap this up. Let me get your final thoughts for the night, gentlemen, and we are going to get up off of here. I gotta be working in the morning. I work at a HBCU.
Damn, we're going to PWI.
Jay, what you get?
I think that we have a slave mentality, and Deion was bumped up to overseer. I said this on Facebook. You give that slave extra responsibilities. You give him his own little quarters, and now he'll die for you. He'll do whatever. He'll punish you, so you don't have to punish the other slaves anymore. You can just chill. He's gonna make sure the crop is picked as much as possible because it benefits him and his family. Now, him and his family, they good. They still slaves, but they good. So now you're putting that little boy on the plantation. The only thing he ever aspires to be is an overseer instead of aspiring to be free. But if all of us would just work together, it wouldn't even take long. If we all said, look, until it's even across the board, our people are not coming to your schools anymore, and we'll get changed the next day. It'll happen quickly. It won't take long. You don't have to be in Jackson long to make a change. I guarantee you, if he would have waited 2 more years, that change would have been made. So if you start Nick Saban mentioned Travis Hunter instantly because he felt like the reins were slipping away. So had you stayed that course, and we're not asking people to sacrifice, but he could have been the one because his bread was coming either way because he got endorsements because he the coach at Jackson State. He didn't have no Aflac commercials before he was Coach Prime. So Shadur is not going to get NIL deals if he's a small fish in a big pond. So that slave mentality of, look, well, it ain't my job, it ain't my responsibility. I'm gonna get mine. That get mine got us in the situation that we're in. And, it's asking a lot for somebody to be that person to say, I'm going to be the one to stop this. Kaepernick was that person that said, I'm going to sacrifice my own career because I'm trying to bring about change. And his money was supplemented in other ways, because if you truly on a God-given mission, God going to provide because your gifts will make room for you. So God would have made room. If it was really about God, God would have made sure his pockets were straight. So you didn't have to go and do all of that. So what I'm saying is, if you really want to be the change, then be the damn change. Don't come in with something and say, oh man, I'm gonna do this, but then you ain't really about it. You ain't really ready to put that work in. So get out of that slave ass mentality. I'm a slave, but I'm the head slave. I'm in the house and I'm gonna die for mine. So we got to get out of that and work together. Fuck Bama, fuck Nick Saban.
My last comment is that the moratorium for all Deion Sanders talk ends at midnight tonight. I'm muting everybody on my timeline that has another post about Deion Sanders come tomorrow. Come hell or high water, I don't want to see it no more. Again, let's just cheer on our boys. Let's cheer on our fans. And let's cheer on a school that was a great school prior to Deion arriving and will still continue to be a great school even after his departure. So, man, this is my last time. I got everything out that I wanted to say about Deion. I'm done with it. I'm muting everybody from this point forward, for real, for real.
Stokes.
Okay, a couple notes here. So, first thing I had was being a celebrity doesn't equate to success in the football arena. I was wrong on the aspect of clout chasing. I didn't think that we chase fame to that extent where any and everybody would come solely off the strength of your name. I knew marketing would be big, but not that I'm going to bring players and that's going to equate to wins. That is where I have an issue with us, right? Because we're so worried about following fame that we expose ourselves. And Ward, you're right. He didn't have an Aflac commercial before JSU, but he did have Subway. So make sure you look at the whole picture. All right. So, and another thing to consider, which one of us is going to turn down the opportunity to take the next 5 years of our career and flip that to 100 years of our career? Okay. Pyrrhic victory. I commend you two, idiots. Okay, that's fine. And we're talking about judge the tree by its fruit. When did we see Deion do anything for HBCUs prior to being the Jackson State coach? So while we're talking about God led him here, it's our fault for not vetting his works before he got here. This is on us. Take accountability. Stop blaming Deion. Get over it. He did the best for him and his family.
Miggy.
All right. My last thoughts is Deion did a lot of good for us, and we did a lot of good for him as well. I don't think that it was, well, let me say it a different way. Was it mutually beneficial? Yes, but it wasn't equitable. I think he got the better end of the deal, in which case then I'm not mad at him because, again, he did what he felt like was best for his life, his family, his mission. I hope that he continues his mission in terms of uplifting our culture, because that culture don't need uplifting. Like Colorado gonna be straight if Deion is there or not. They just want him to win games. So I hope he continues the mission of trying to uplift our community and provide opportunities for us. I wish him well, but like bro said, at the end of the day, it's Deion love till I die, you know, and we're gonna keep repping for the home team. So we're gonna take this last 3 years, treat it like the 2013 Heat or the 2015 Warriors, man. We just gonna dominate and we gonna keep it for what it was, and we're gonna move forward, man.
Oh, my Lakers. Go ahead, Joey.
All right. I agree with Miguel over there that Jackson State got a lot from Coach Prime. Coach Prime got a lot from Jackson State. Like I say, Coach Sanders to me right now is an above average coach for Jackson State. We don't owe him anything. He doesn't owe us anything. It's just like it is, like in his own words, it is what it is.
Technically, he owes $300,000, but we gonna keep that on the hush.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like he is a non-factor to Jackson State at this point. I'm not gonna be one of the ones booing him at the Celebration Bowl. I will be there, popping bottles, celebrating the football team. Now, if he get a few boos, I might just turn my head. I ain't gonna participate. I might clap him on. I might clap him on a little bit.
You on that Jerry Jones?
I'm just there. I'm just curious. I'm just curious in the background. Hey, but the overall thing is, I do think that we should continue the mission to bring our people back home. Because Stokes, you talk about this. We are playing a game. It was a tide shifting where people are coming back to HBCUs, where they're preferring to come back to HBCUs versus going to those Power Fives. We should have our own top resources. We should hold on to our own top resources. You talk about money. It is about the money. We're going to bring the money when we hold on to our own top resources. And the trickle-down economics don't work. So when you have one rich black man, like Coach Prime, getting richer, it's to be determined whether or not he's going to use that newfound wealth to benefit the community, which it's to be determined. But you can have people like Michael Jordan saying, "F them kids," you know what I'm saying? You can have billionaires who don't do nothing for the culture other than take our money. So one rich black man ain't gonna progress nothing. You know what I'm saying? You could say it's an advancement for Coach Prime, cool. But we're gonna see what he do. We're gonna see if he really promoting these assistant coaches like he was saying and true to his word. But I don't believe nothing he say. Like you say, it's marketing. His word shot to me. I just hope that overall that we continue the mission of bringing our people back home and holding on to our resources.
I'll say.
All right. So first of all, made a couple notes myself, Stokes. So like, I don't really like the use of us, blame us, all this stuff. I don't hire coaches, my guy. Like, like I can't tell you who comes and goes. I'm going to support who's ever going to coach our school, right? I was right there in the stands when Bell was out there giving us nothing, but we was there. And that's the one thing why I know Jackson is always going to be good, right? We sat there and fill up stadiums knowing we're not going to win the game because we're Jacksonians. So I don't play the us game. Also, being a celebrity actually did lead to success. We won 2 SWAC championships. Like, we got the dubs. Like, you're a data person. The results show a celebrity came in with no past experience at the coaching level and got us wins. So that's why I see both sides of the situation. I won't ever just outright shit on Deion Sanders. I might disagree with certain things, but he won games. He brought us connections. He did things that gave us an extra sense of exposure. But I do agree with like Twin, where the foundation wasn't set. The seeds weren't put in there to grow, right? We just laid out a bunch of soil, did a bunch of things, but there's nothing growing from what he left. Now, the one thing when we talk about clout is we need to really hold the celebs and media that was popping around, hanging around, posting. That was clout. And they have the opportunity. They have similar connections as Prime, some of those at different levels. They should continue to shine that light towards HBCUs because they were out here saying, y'all need to be out here with this and that. They weren't talking about football, Prime football. They were saying HBCUs is it. Jackson State is it. These things are it. They're all in there. So they should continue to do that or get called out just as much as Prime, because at the end of the day, we shouldn't hold a coach accountable for all our exposure when he's bringing other people with just as much money or around that, and they're leaving when he leaves, right? The last piece is like Celebration Bowl. Yo, give it up for the kids. They're going to be out there. They're going to be doing their thing. I don't care if Prime's out there or not. When he goes out, there's a bunch of players behind him. So we should basically completely support them, make sure they're good, and let them go out with a bang. So that's it.
Got you. I wrote a few notes too, and one of them is towards what Osei said, his second point. You know, watching that video of Deion when he was at Colorado, it just did not feel the same. And then you got these celebrities at Jackson State football game benefiting from HBCU culture. And I started thinking, I saw some posts about this. Should we gatekeep HBCU culture? Because you see these people coming in and benefiting off of it and then going on and making videos or starting dance lines at other schools. Like, should we really gatekeep HBCU culture and keep what we hold sacred to ourselves and not let other people benefit from it? And my last point was going to be, I forgot my last point was. My memory is horrible, but I just want to thank everybody for coming home.
License the culture. If we're gonna just give it away for free, why don't we have our own NIL deal for the culture? Get paid for it.
I agree.
That's next topic for BBT right there, Swift.
We may have to go ahead and start going back to weekly BBT meetings, but should we gatekeep HBCU black culture? Because, like I said, that video Deion walked in, that's how you walk in, and white coach was like, shit, okay, I don't care. Win these football games. But once again, thank y'all for coming on. Like I said, we may start coming back weekly. We'll see. We'll talk about it in the group chat. I want to thank all my brothers for coming on, all my AD brothers for coming on and bringing their opinion. And we're going to try to get a few clips and put them on Facebook because y'all gave some great points tonight. But if anyone has anything that y'all like for us to talk about, like I said, we may start coming back out and we will go from there. I think that's it. And hopefully we see y'all at the Celebration Bowl. Please don't boo. Let these students deserve and earn what they deserve and celebrate them when they win a celebration mode. Because honestly, it's about the students. It really is about the students. That's what I'm about to say. Being a black student at an HBCU is so much different than being a black student at a PWI. Like, I've worked at an HBCU for going on 6-7 years now, and I've given some of my last money to make sure that these students eat. And I'm talking about football players, regular students, band students. These kids are going through it at these HBCUs. So please celebrate these students for their accomplishments because it's needed. It really is.
It's rough in the swag.
It's rough. Oh, that's my last point. That's
like
my
a money
last.
problem.
I'm glad you said that. So now that Deion is officially gone, we can start going back to HBCU and SWAC football games for the real reason we should be there in the first place, and that's to see the bands play. Jackson State.
Hey, no more theme music either. Just get ready. That's it. Hey, we came to play. Ain't no theme
Right.
music. Boy.
We don't need no more theme music. We listening to Get Ready and big balling and listen. That's what we want to hear. But y'all be easy. Y'all have a good night, and we will see.
Play the show.
All right.